Her father answered the door with a scowl, disappointment written across his face before I could say a word. His gaze slid down to my oil-streaked jeans, the sweat-dampened collar of my shirt, and the smear of grease across my cheek I hadn't noticed in the mirror. He sneered. "Didn't feel like dressing up, huh?" I didn't bother explaining. Didn't tell him I'd pulled over on the way to help a woman stranded beside the highway, her classic Mercedes belching smoke. Didn't mention how I knelt on sharp gravel, elbows deep in a 70-year-old engine, while she clutched a photo taped to her dashboard, a faded picture of her late husband, tears running silently down her face. I didn't tell him I stayed until she was smiling again, waving goodbye as her car finally started. I simply nodded and walked inside. Claire, my girlfriend, avoided eye contact. Her mother leaned in, whispering something in her ear, lips curled in disapproval. That was the first real sign. When I met Claire, I thought she was genuine, graceful, soft-spoken, seemingly thoughtful. I often saw her reading in cafes, sipping tea, her manner serene. I mistook it for depth. But I'd come to learn people can imitate warmth when it suits them, especially on the climb upward. Her parents never hid their disdain. It wasn't that I mistreated her, they just couldn't stomach that I wasn't one of them. I crafted furniture with my hands, came from a tiny house raised by a mother whose hands were worn and heart unbreakable. They viewed me as a temporary experiment, something Claire would outgrow. She told me not to take it to heart. So I didn't, until it was too late. The clues showed up slowly. She stopped visiting my workshop. The walnut and silver ring I carved for her went missing from her finger. Then came the comments, "My parents think you should consider law school," or "Have you ever thought about dressing a little sharper?" But the real moment that hit me like a punch came one night when I dropped by unannounced. Her car was in the driveway, but the house was dark. I let myself in and found her in the kitchen, laughing. Not alone. Derek was there, polished and smug, heir to a real estate empire, with a gold watch and a last name engraved on law firm signs. He looked startled. She looked guilty. I didn't yell. I just turned and walked out. She followed, stumbling through a tangle of excuses, misunderstandings, family expectations, pressure. I didn't argue. I simply watched her, really watched her. That's when I saw the truth. Claire wasn't caught between two worlds. She had already chosen. I didn't get mad. I got focused. That night, I made 2 calls. The first to a friend, a restoration contractor, and told him I'd sell my handcrafted walnut desk at cost. The second was to the woman with the vintage Mercedes. When she stepped out of her car and thanked me that day, hands trembling and lipstick smudged, she offered more than appreciation. She gave her name, Elizabeth Langston, founder, board member, and key donor of the Hawthorne Foundation. The same foundation Claire's parents had been desperate to impress. They'd spent months scheming to get into its exclusive fundraiser. Now I had Elizabeth's number. The night of the event arrived. Claire's parents had scored 4 invitations. Derek would be there, with Claire on his arm. I showed up late, again in my work jeans, hands still marked by labor. Heads turned. Whispers followed. Claire's father looked like he might explode. Then Elizabeth walked in, pearls glowing, power radiating. Her eyes lit up when she spotted me. Without hesitation, she crossed the room, embraced me, and took my hand. "This young man," she announced to her table, "brought my late husband's car back to life. Asked for nothing in return. Just wanted to help. That kind of heart is rare." Silence. Then murmurs of admiration. Claire's parents froze between forced smiles and sheer panic. Derek turned pale, hiding behind his wine glass. And Claire, she looked at me like she'd never seen me before. Because she hadn't. She'd only known the version of me who bent to fit in, not the one who stood tall on his own terms. I didn't rub it in. I just let it be. A week later, she came to my shop. The ring was back on her finger. Her eyes were soft, voice shaky. "I made a mistake." I nodded, offered her a cup of coffee. She smiled, thinking the door was open again. Then I reached beneath the counter and placed the velvet box she'd left behind when she moved out on the table between us. "No, Claire. I was the one who got it wrong," I said. She blinked. "What?" "I was wrong to believe you loved me, not what you hoped I could become for your family." "That illusion's over." Her jaw tightened. "You used that woman to get back at us." I smiled calmly. No. I helped her. But you tried to mold me. That's the difference. She stormed out, angry. But that was the last time I let her write my story. Now, my shop is thriving. Orders are backed up for 6 months. Elizabeth's nephew needed a custom conference table. Her niece wanted a handcrafted kitchen island. Word got around. Turns out, there's still value in skill and sincerity. So, yes, I arrived late. Greasy. The wrong kind of man. Until I became exactly the kind they never saw coming.